Afternoon, ladies. So today's topic is how to deal with stress and the effect stress has on your body and your ability to lose weight. So we're going to go a little bit deeper into this topic today. This is something that I definitely have covered before, but it's something that's really, really important, and I feel like it's something that a lot of you struggle with. You struggle with stress, you struggle with stress management, and then of course that affects your ability to lose weight. So we want to make sure that I want to make sure that you guys are educated on this subject and why it's so important. And I think, again, it always comes back to having a little bit more awareness of your body, awareness of how your body functions, and a little bit more awareness of yourself as well. So, we're going to cover this topic today. So we're going to get straight into this. So, first of all, what is stress? So, stress is basically your body's way of responding to any kind of demand or threat. This is the meaning of what stress is, okay? So when you sense danger, and that's any type of danger, whether it be it's real or imagined danger, the body's defenses kick into high gear in a rapid automatic process known as fight or flight, and you guys might have heard of that reaction, or the stress response. And the stress response is basically the body's way of protecting you. So our body has lots of different automatic processes or systems that are there to protect us, to keep us safe, keep us alive. And they're things that happen just automatically, right? Our body's amazing, actually. And so it's there to protect us. So stress is one of those things. But the problem is that our body doesn't really know the difference, or it doesn't really react differently to one threat to another. So for example, if it's a real threat, then obviously your body's going to react. But also if it's an imagined threat, then obviously your body's still going to react as well. So that's like things like fears. Like when you have fears, like obviously your body will react in that fight or flight reaction, or that stress response too. Okay, so the stress response. So now we're going to go deeper into what that stress response actually is, and you guys probably can relate to a lot of these things. So when you feel threatened, or your nervous system responds by releasing a flood, when you're stressed, so that stress response, you're threatened in some way, whether it's imagined or real, your body does a stress response. And what that stress response is, your nervous system responds by releasing a flood of stress hormones. So that includes adrenaline and cortisol, which basically, brings your body up to a state of, taking emergency action. So it's enabling the body to take action and defend itself, really. And the following are symptoms of that specific stress response. So the heart pounds faster, muscles tighten, blood pressure rises, breath quickens, your senses become sharper, and you then get increased strength and stamina. So this is like where you hear stories of people lifting cars to grab their children from underneath and all that stuff. That's what this stress response does. And all of this enhances your focus. So it basically enhances that focus to prepare you for either flight or fight. So to either stay and fight, or to flee, like to get away. And this is a great help in stressful situations. If there is a real threat to your safety, or it's a life-threatening situation, obviously that is like helpful, but not for long term. This response is not great. It's not great to be in this kind of state for a long period of time. So there's a whole range of different types of stress, and the thing is, like I said before, our body doesn't know how to distinguish the difference between emotional threats and physical threats. So it's all the same to the body. So you'll always have that same stress response when you, for example, have a fight with a friend, as you would if your life was threatened. So it's always the same kind of response. And there's two different types of stresses. So you have the internal stress, which is, you being pessimistic, your inability to accept uncertainty, fear of change, negative self-talk, unrealistic expectations, you being a perfectionist. So all that stuff is internal stress. And then you've got the external stress, which is things like major life changes, financial problems, children and family, your environment, exposure to chemicals and stuff like that. So that's more of external stuff. So there is internal, and there can also be external as well. So sometimes a lot of people when they think stress, they just think, oh, work, it's always just work stress, or, you know, family stuff or major life things, but they never really think about the internal stuff as well. So that's always there too. So there are signs of stress overload. So obviously you have both acute stress and you also have chronic stress. So acute stress would be, for example, you know, you've got a deadline at work and it's in a week. That would be acute stress. Obviously you'll be stressed for that week and then it'll kind of go away. But then there's also chronic stress, and chronic stress is the most unhealthiest type, because most of the time chronic stress is underlying. You're not even aware half the time that it's actually there, which is a problem, because when what happens is you're so used to it being there, you start to function on that level, and that level is normal, and that's a problem. You know, you don't want to function on a highly stressful level. You know, that's not great. So chronic stress can lead to stress overload, which can make you really, really unhealthy and really unhappy and really overweight as well. So the following are some symptoms of stress overload and what happens to your body when there's that chronic stress. So there's there's physical symptoms, emotional symptoms, cognitive symptoms, and behavioral symptoms. So we've got things like aches and pains, diarrhea and constipation. So obviously like things like IBS, you know, nausea, dizziness, loss of sex drive, colds and flus. So if you're constantly coming down with a cold or flu, that will obviously affect, that can definitely be a sign of stress overload if you're constantly always getting a cold and flu. Rapid heart rate. Behavioral, we've got things like eating more or less. So it might affect your eating behavior. A lot of people tend to, they'll either eat more when they're stressed or eat less. Sleeping too much or too little, withdrawing from others, or things like using alcohol, drugs, or even food to relax. And things like nervous habits, so things like biting your nails, or, scratching your scalp, or different things like that. Then you've got emotional symptoms, so depression and general unhappiness. You've got anxiety, feeling overwhelmed, loneliness or isolation, or other. Yep. And then you've got cognitive symptoms, memory problems, inability to concentrate, inability, seeing only negative, constant worry or anxious thoughts. So all of these things, a sign that maybe you're maybe not handling the stress very well, and maybe have some chronic underlying stress. So it's important that you learn to deal with that a little bit better. And stress and your ability to lose weight. So the reason why stress and your stress levels make it so difficult to lose weight is because of the stress response. And that stress response is, remember, we're releasing that hormone known as cortisol. So we said before, the adrenaline and cortisol. When cortisol levels are really high in your body can't burn fat, right? Your body's unable to. While cortisol levels are high. The second thing that cortisol does is it also encourages your body to store fat around your belly. And it also encourages those fat cells to grow. So if you've come out of a period of time of being really, really stressed out, quite often you'll find that you'll be storing a lot of fat around your belly. Yeah, a lot of fat around your belly. Maybe you might even be the type that doesn't usually store fat around your belly. You might usually store fat around your bum, but all of a sudden you've got this little pouch in your belly. And a lot of the times it is because of stress and your cortisol levels. So just remember that, one of the stress responses is cortisol releasing, and you need to make sure that it, understand that it's not helping you. It's not helping you lose weight. So the main ways to handle stress and to start to decrease it is, first of all, your lifestyle makes a huge, huge difference. Something that a lot of the ladies have noticed throughout their experience through the program is that their ability to deal with stress has increased. They find that they're in a much stronger mental place to deal with things that are going on, right? So things like getting moving, so exercise. Exercise is a really great way to deal with stress and to help release those feel-good hormones, make you feel mentally stronger. Connect to others, so sometimes talking to other people, positive people, can help you deal with your stress better. Engaging your senses, so things like smell, touch, taste, obviously you don't want to go too far with the food, but, you know, can definitely help as well. Or doing things that you enjoy. You know, things that bring you joy, do that. You know, that's really important. Learning to relax. So obviously, again, it's going to be different for everyone, but learning to relax. I think one thing that helped me the most was learning how to meditate or self-hypnosis, and learning how to relax my body. That's a really important skill to know and to learn, because if you're currently really struggling with learning or knowing how to relax yourself, that's something that would really help you. And I used to always think, oh, that's so airy fairy, but honestly, it helps so much. Eating healthy. So obviously eating healthy, that comes back down to how healthy you are. Remember, if you're in a healthy state, your body's in a healthy state, you're going to be a lot stronger and you're going to be able to handle the stress a lot better. Because remember, there's physical stress as well as mental stress. So if you are eating crap, you're not moving, all that kind of stuff, then obviously that's going to take its toll on your body. That's going to create some physical stress. Okay. So yeah, very important that, you know, we make sure that we aren't creating any extra stress on top of what we've already got going on. And then obviously the last one is getting plenty of rest. I feel like the sleep one is a huge one. You know, I think that if you can get some really decent night's sleep, that'll make a huge difference in the way that you deal with your stress and how stressed out you feel as well. All right, so we are going to take some questions.